Greetings programs. In today's video we are going to be having a look at this. The Quickshot MIDI Composer Advanced MIDI Keyboard Controller. Right, so what is this? It's a MIDI controller. It's one that has a few distinct features that you may not find on the more professional models of a MIDI controller. It's from about the mid-90s. It's perhaps from, maybe this was made between 1994 to about 1999-ish, maybe up until about the year 2000. As you can tell, it's got a very beige aesthetic. Now, this would have been made at a time when things like the Soundblaster 32 would have been popular, or even the Soundblaster 16, AWE64, those sort of sound cards. That's what makes it distinct. Not only does it have a 5-pin DIN MIDI output, but it also has a 15-pin joyful controller. So you can use it to directly control your sound card. Now this lead that I'm holding here, this is essentially an extension cable for what you might want to use for your gaming joystick or your graphics gamepad. It goes directly into the joy port. So we have a male pin on one end of the cable and a female pin on the other. Over here we also have a standard sustain pedal, perhaps similar to the ones that you might have had with the QS836, those sort of musical keyboards. Probably would even actually work with the QS836, which is a pretty good synthesizer. So we have these with it, and then we actually have the keyboard itself. So we're going to have a look at the actual features of this. Close up, you can zoom in, see the camera accordingly. So we have power switch, MIDI select, and data entry. We have a minus value and a plus value. We have more data entry in the form of an analog slider. We have a pitch bend wheel, and we have a modulator, which will adjust the vibrato of your chosen sound. Certainly good for like strings and those type of instruments. As we go along the keyboard, we will find that this particular instrument controller has full-size keys. They're not weighted, but they are full-size. Perhaps if I get a ruler, since there you go, we have a ruler. You can see roughly in centimetres that the keys are around about, maybe about 12.5 centimetres long. And just under an inch wide. This, if we were to go right to the middle, we'd have 2.5 centimetres, which is an inch. So we have big keys rather than like the mini keys that you might find on like the consumer Casio hardware. Right, let's have a look at the interesting ports. Right. Oh, sorry about that. Accident prone. Well, I'll explain shortly what just happened there. But first we're going to have a look at the ports. So what's this? What is this? Right. We have a MIDI interface switch, which allows you to switch between external or internal. We have the sound card port, which is where we plug our 15-pin cable that I just showed you earlier. We have a joystick pass-through, so you can leave this permanently connected to your computer and then just plug your joystick in to, you just plug it in so you don't have to mess about with the cables every time that you want to play some games after you've composed some music. Over here we have a MIDI output. Now this is used if you want to control a drum machine, or if you want to use it to control another keyboard, like I said, Casio's, Yamaha. You might have a keyboard that has mini keys, you don't feel comfortable playing the MIDI keys, so you can use these full-size keys. You can use it to control a drum machine, or you can use it to control a MIDI module, such as the Roland Sound Canvas, the MT32, the Yamaha TG33. So you have one of those as an output. This is where you put your sustain pedal, and this is a DC input 9 volt. Now this is something you'll need if you want to use it to control something like a Casio or a drum machine. But if you're using this to control a sound card, you don't need it, because the sound card port is self-powered. If neither of those work for you, we have a battery compartment, and if you insert 4 D cells, no, 6 C cells actually, 6 C-size batteries, this will allow you to use this to power without the 9 volt or the joystick cable, which allows it to be used as a fully portable live instrument controller. How's that for cool? Yeah. And yeah, we have a CE. Aside from that, I don't know a great deal beyond that. But that's basically all there is to it. There's no other sockets or buttons. See. So what else can we do? Well, maybe we want to see this thing in action. Shall we see this thing in action? Yes, we will see this thing in action. Just get things set up. And of course, before we go any further with actually setting this thing up and using it, I just thought that it might be appreciated to have a little historical context as to why these quirky beige MIDI controllers were a thing. Of course, they're a precursor really to like the USB controllers, like the little mini M audios. But around about 1994, Crave started releasing these sound cards, and they often actually had very advanced synthesis engines that were similar to things like it was Roland that started the trend really. They were so the LAPC10. That was basically a Roland D50, a Roland D50 keyboard. All the circuitry of that crammed onto a sound card. So you'd put that in your computer and you'd have the great soundscapes that you could compose as you would on a Roland D50, which was used by many acts like Rick Wakeman, 808 State. Loads of popular artists used the Roland D50. And of course, so you could have these very advanced sound cards such as this Soundblaster 32 I have here, it's a CT3620. And again, this thing is like very similar to something like I think it's similar to like the Prophet. I think like the Prophet synths. I'm trying to remember this. Is it? No, I can't remember. Was it the Prophet? Who made them? Was it? It wasn't Ensoniq. It was the other one. The Ensoniq did the Mirage. The Prophets. Prophet. No, I can't think of it. I think no, memory's not with me. And to explain what happened earlier, this is the battery cover. It fell out. Yeah, so this battery cover just fell off, and that caused that kind of crazy cataclysm that you saw earlier in this video. Right, I think it's probably time that we just like actually use this thing. I mean, actually see this thing in action. Resuming our setup, we have the MIDI composer hooked up to a Pentium 4 tower that we have set up down here. Well, it's a Celeron. Should be having Windows 98 or Windows XP on there. I'm going to be using that with a Soundblaster Live 5.1 SB100, SB0100. And we should be trying the keyboard out, the Quickshot MIDI keyboard. We'll be trying out the Quickshot MIDI composer with this software. Magic's Piano and Keyboard Workshop, which also includes Magic's MIDI Studio SE as well. assuming you've got an older version of Open Mod Plug Tracker, you could probably use that with it and definitely make some great dance tracks. So without further ado, we are going to boot this computer up. Hang on a minute, I don't think I've got a power cable on the back of the tower. Bear with me. Okay. Let's switch this one on. Here we go, Microsoft Windows 98. Colour's not very good on this. So I'm using a different camera compared to what I usually use for these types of video. Kind of taken a while to boot. Thought it'd be a bit faster than that on a Pentium 4. Please don't say I've got a configuration problem. Dead hard drive. No, we are getting there. Windows 98 boot up with added commentary. And the video pop already. Okay. Just need to adjust that a bit. Get that closer to the screen. See what we're doing. You know, it's a totally washed out mess anyway. Okay. What's this then? Okay, we're going to put the software in. We're ready to use some old optical media. You use optical media. Far out! No one knows what that is. Right. Well, someone might. Someone might, and it won't necessarily be Vic Zarrett either. Open says me. Open says me. Thank you. Here we go. That should do an auto run. Don't you just love Adobe Flash? Yeah? No? There's no internet connection on this thing. Yes, this is the second edition. Magic's Piano Keyboard Workshop. It's a shop you can work in. Workshopping. Yeah, I've got Microsoft and telling us down there. mechanical keyboard. Right, and that's it. That's the software. Yeah. Okay, we'll play that. Okay. Right. We're going to actually try out this thing now, aren't we? Yeah, we're going to try this thing out. Okay. Switch it on. Right, chances are we're going to have to probably like go into the control panel if it's not. No, we don't hear anything yet. We're doing MIDI select. That's right, you need 2 hands for this. It's like a two-handed operation. Let me this thing back. Okay, 2 hands. MIDI select. If you want to change the MIDI channel, we'll have a look that on the far side of the keys. You see on the far side of the keys we've got numbers from 1 to 9, and if we look on this side we've got numbers 1 to 16. So if you want channel 1, that takes it to channel 1. Do it to there. Channel 2 here. 5. And of course that really requires 2 hands. There we go. There's 16 channels. Right, so we're going to select it to channel 1. This should input the sound card to channel 1. This is transposing, so you can transpose down octaves. So you've got octave 1, should be able to go up to octave 8. There we go. We don't have 0, so it's just 1 to 8. Right, we're going to have to go into the control panel of the computer because I've never set this sound cut. I've never set the MIDI composer to be used with this particular computer. So yeah, I'll just put that in there. Where's that block of tape boxes I use? Yeah, use it as a desktop. It is what it is, guys. I'm sure you enjoy it more than I do. I hope, at least. Right. So we'll minimise our piano program. Greetings programs. Sound card. What's this? That's Intel graphics drivers. Sound. Volume. Okay. Control panel, settings, control panel, audio HQ, device controls, Soundblaster Live, that's our only sound device at the moment, device controls. Okay, try something else. Jeez. Maybe we need to exit that. Okay, sound devices, sound control panel, sounds. That's just sounds. System, device manager. Maybe before we get too crazy with this, perhaps I should just set the switch on the MIDI composer itself, that switch between external and internal MIDI interface. Well, I've just done that. Any sounds? No. Can I get my sound card to do settings? No. Okay. Software synth MIDI port. Okay, can we set it to A? Okay, so we have that. Devices and instruments. Joystick devices. We have a game port. Properties. Ah, we have it. Yes, we have it. Let's crank the volume up on that. Yes, it's velocity sensitive. Okay, we have it. We have this thing working. Could do cranking the sound up though. Really crank the sound up on this thing. Come on. Fine, have it your way. Okay. Right, let's have a little introspective. What's going on here? I want to actually see the keyboard in action. So, here it is. Right, once we've gotten bored of scaring the neighbours, we can look at the actual features. Right, we have an octave select. This is 1, 2, 3. So there's our octave select. So here's our modulation. modulation down, you get a nice clean sound. And then you hear the Sonic the Hedgehog Game Over thing. Yeah. It's got that dizziness to it. And the pitch bend. So yeah, you can see that my playing skills are not really up to par, but you can get some sort of hardcore-ish dance chords in there. Yeah. Data entry, as I say, that's for setting certain functions. I can't remember which ones, but basically you would just press the MIDI select, nothing. You'd maybe slide that, or you'd hold one of these in conjunction with that. Or maybe to actually select certain sets. It could have actually have even been used to select the tuning, or to switch instrument sounds, instrument patches on the fly. And there was also that sustain pedal, weren't there? Yeah, we have the sustain pedal. Which is in slight disarray in terms of its configuration between the floor and my feet. Not much of an interface really. So yeah, it's a sprung-loaded pedal, doesn't stay down, it's just... Yeah. So, yeah. If I let go of the keys, see? So, pedal off, pedal on, sustains. Pedal off, pedal on, you can tell that I've probably been listening to too much Sisyphus, too much Rick Wright for my own good. And that's it. I'd like to think that's all you need to know about Quickshot MIDI Composer. But what is it like to use this to control another instrument through the MIDI DIN port? This will be the topic for the last section of this video. Stay tuned, guys, and we're going to have a look at this. Yeah. We're going to find out new things. Every day is a new learning experience. And of course, you vaporwave heads, you'll probably just want to see Windows 98 shutting down on this thing. In this final section of our video, we will be having a look at this, controlling that. Here we go. Yeah. And on this side, now if we turn the modulation down, see the vibrato, I think. You see the values changing when I turn the modulation wheel. See that? There we go. quite a buzz to it. Turn it down to 0. Clean digital organ sound. Turn it to the midpoint. And it's kind of got that kind of digital wavering data loop sound. So that's what the modulation wheel does. It adjusts the vibrato of a given sound. Of course, though, if there are some sounds on your module that does not support vibrato, then the modulation wheel will have no effect if vibrato isn't supported on that instrument patch. To my knowledge, I don't believe the sustain pedal really does anything for this particular model, which is the Yamaha PSS 792 Porta Sound keyboard. No effect for the sustain. I mean, I thought it would have had control over the reverb, but that doesn't appear to be the case. So, yeah, it does depend on the nature of the external synth that you're controlling. As to how many of the features on this will work, but the pitch bend will. One thing I should say about the pitch bend wheel on this is that the pitch bend wheel on some synths kind of have a more analog quality. It's quite seamless. It's quite seamless. But the pitch bend wheel on the Quickshot MIDI composer, it sounds more like it's done in steps. And I believe the reason for this is because the pitch bend wheel on the Quickshot has a greater range. And of course, the great thing about this is that you can actually unlock notes on this that you can't access on there. If we transpose to the highest range that we can go, but if we go here, can you work out that frequency? that should be enough to torment your dog. How's that for cool? Do an X-Files soundtrack with this. So yeah, I'd say this is a great thing to have, even if you don't use a computer or a Soundblaster sound card, because using one of these actually allows you to unlock some things on one of these sort of port sound keyboards that you can't actually access on the port sound itself. Is that 96? What's this? That's a sound that we don't usually have on there. Cannot access that because of the expanded octave range that the controller offers to the Yamaha. And yet, not actually accessible on the Yamaha itself. So by communicating to the MIDI input of the Yamaha, you can actually access hidden Easter eggs found deep within the circuitry in the mind of the porter sound. I don't think modulation doesn't work on the drum patch. So yeah, you've got this nice bleep sound. Use that for some techno. So yeah, I think that's about it really. Add this to your existing keyboard and you can access a whole new range of capabilities. The Magic MIDI Composer from Quickshot. Alright then. Goodbye programs. Thank you for watching this, and at some point I'll be back reviewing some more cool retro hardware for the sake of the video potpourri. And all you lovely programs that log in to see such video potpourri. Okay, be seeing ya. Keep rocking, fellow souls.